As an aspiring actor, growing up, I would often watch interviews of other actors on late night television. Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, Conan, Letterman. And it was always fascinating for me to witness which actor or actress comes across as charismatic and who you end up not caring about at all. And in my opinion, it has nothing to do with their good looks or how funny they are, the way they speak, the jokes they tell. That all may have a part to play, but there have been plenty of actors or salesmen or people in my life in general who look great, are extremely well dressed. They know all the tactical ways by which, all the charisma on command sort of ways to express themselves, the perfect tensity to hold their fingers, how to make good eye contact without getting googly-eyed like I do, how to have a good cadence up and down in your speech. And yet, some people have all that, and I'm still like, you know what? Fuck this guy. I'm not buying what he's selling. I don't care. They just come across as fake or distasteful. Like you don't buy what they're projecting. And on the other end, there are some actors. This is very notable in Hollywood today because I think the industry is shifting towards, less good-looking people taking on leading men or leading lady roles, and they have such an innate charisma about them. Not only are they good actors, but these people in their interviews even, you just end up liking them. Even if they're bizarre or they don't speak well or they speak slowly, there's an authenticity that some people communicate that's just like, hey, you're real, I like you. And in this video, I want to investigate what I think might be one source of that. In this book, Continence and Its Creative Power, I forget who the author is, but I'll leave a link to the PDF in the description box. There's a whole chapter and whole sections devoted to this concept called Ojas Shakti, which in Hindi just means brilliant power. Ojas or Tejasvi means someone who is full of brightness. And so what this author writes is, retention of your faculties creates an eighth dhatu called Ojas in our body. Ojas is what is called by Westerners human magnetism. Ojas is the spiritual force and true builder of the personality. The best blood in the body goes into the formation of the elements of reproduction in both sexes. In a pure and orderly life, this matter is reabsorbed and goes back into circulation, ready to form the finest brain, nerve, and muscular tissues. This matter, carried back and diffused through his system, makes a man manly, strong, brave, and heroic. Cheerfulness, development, and strength of the body depend on the development and the growth of Ojas. Its absence leads to death. It is the main prop of life. Enthusiasm, merit, patience, grace, and beauty, and other attributes pertaining to the body are born of this the substance called Ojas. Ojas pervades the whole body and is soothing, cool, steady, white, and soma-like. Soma with S-O-M-A, soma. And is very conducive to the strength and development of the body. Lord Shiva himself says, "What is there in the world that cannot be achieved when one preserves the jewel of their vital essence, by whose power I have so much glory in the whole universe?" And I think this concept of developing Ojas, the faculties that we can lift up to develop Ojas Shakti, is also similarly mentioned in Think and Grow Rich. I've got my copy of that book right here, and there's a whole section talking about sex energy being the most powerful of all the stimuli because it moves men into action. It's the most powerful of the emotions, and it must be controlled through transmutation and converted into other channels. So, what makes people attractive, either indirectly or directly, is being what Napoleon Hill called being raised up to a high vibration of thought, like someone who vibrates at a high nature. And I think these people of charisma, regardless of how they look, regardless of how great their vocabulary is, regardless of how they sound. It's that sheer desire. I think being in a state of desire and enthusiasm internally from your inner world is the deepest source of personal magnetism. It's the deepest source of charisma. And when you drop faculties within you that would either relate to lust, anger, greed, gluttony, when you drop these faculties and you simply channel them in the direction that is upwards and outwards, that is in the direction of your goals, your ambitions, the impressions that you want to leave on people, then it's almost like an inherent knowing that people have. Everyone can just sense it. And it feels amazing when you see other people sense it in you. Like you can both witness that sensation in yourself, but also see it in other people seeing it in you. It's an amazing feeling when you realize that, wow, I am bringing a certain energy to my surroundings and everyone is coming to my level. Sidney Poitier, he's this amazing actor from the 1960s. One of the first black actors who really broke it big in Hollywood and won a couple of Oscars. He wrote this book, his biography, and he said that when two people are walking, a strange thing happens. One person always matches the pace of the other person. And I guess what I'm saying is when you drop faculties within you, whether it's practicing nofap and converting your sexual energy into sheer output force, or it's other faculties within you, like your anger, or your sheer desire, your sheer want to make something happen. You put that outwards into the world and you just let that project outwards. No one hates you for it. I mean, maybe you get haters for it as well, but really what happens is that the world looks at you and says, that's cool. So many people are just so fucking dead inside. I notice this in so many places I go. I'm now like the most excited, talkative person in every room. I'm sort of starting to think that I come across as a little manic to people almost, even though I try to do meditation and be somewhat smooth about the way I conduct myself. I feel like I'm like this rabid squirrel, with ideas and things I want to try out, and everyone else is just like, oh, okay. And maybe that's something that changes with time. Maybe it's just because I'm young, but I'll tell you what, it's only since I started this journey that I'm really feeling that heat to just project myself. And it's been really fulfilling and inspiring for me to hear that other people are starting to feel that as well. I just got off a phone call yesterday with one of the viewers on this channel. He's based out of Chicago, and he told me it was okay for me to speak out publicly, about his story. And it was so cool. He said, he was only on about 2.5 weeks of doing brahmacharya, practicing nofap. And he had a job interview where he had to have a Skype call. And he said that the second they saw him through that Skype call, the interviewer smiled. And he wasn't doing anything in particular necessarily, but he knew that he just, through the camera, connected with them. He just sent something to them. And he said that he got a job that inevitably it just doubled his income. He doubled his income. And granted, I don't think it's just this one thing that doubled his income. He's obviously, he sounds like a very competent, charismatic guy. And brother, thank you so much for calling me. That was a great talk. But human magnetism, I think at least one source of that comes from outside of the tactics that we enact, it has nothing to do with the fact that I stumbled with my words through this video. It has everything to do with my intentionality, my hunger. You can sense that when a man or woman is in a state of desire to eat the fruit of life and let it gush down and just to taste everything. When you're filled up with that life energy, that love, that genuinely speaking, that love for life, it breaks through everything, look at how poorly lit my videos are. And I'm only starting to learn this process, but not in a major capacity. I don't want to oversell myself, but definitely compared to what I was before, my state of desire for the world, for connection, and to impress my own, force outwards. It has gone up like 10,000% since since March 8th, which is when, my last streak started. It's just been incredible. It feels incredible to be filled up with this much life. And when I don't, it almost confuses me. I'm like, why aren't the people around me as energetic, as fired up, as optimistic as I am? We all have energies within us, faculties that can be redirected upwards. And I'm sure many of you are feeling this as well. Every day I hear about people who are going through this, that same inner transformation. Charisma starts with the inner world. And a definitive statement about that inner world is the phrase Ojas Shakti. Literally means brilliant power. And gentlemen, ladies, we're all developing it. We're all projecting that lifeward energy upwards and outwards. And that inevitably means that greatness will be coming for all of us on this journey. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you this weekend. Have a good one. Cheers.